Right, in this video we're going to be looking at creating the queen model. Now, because the king and queen models are so similar, I'm going to utilize the king model that I made earlier. So I'm just going to paste that in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the rectangles that make up the cross, which I no longer need, and I'm going to delete a couple of the top splines as well. So I'm going to take those splines there and I'm just going to move those down. Okay, because of the height difference between the king and the queen, I don't want the crown of the queen to be as high as the crown of the king. Now, it is the crown of the queen model that makes this the more interesting thing to produce in Cinema 4D. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to utilize one of those splines that I've already got there, okay, and then I'm going to expand it out because that's where I want those sort of spikes of the crown to finish. And now, using the points tool, I'm going to select every other point, like so. And then using the scale tool, I'm just going to scale those in. And you can see that we start to kind of get that shape, but it isn't exactly where we need it to be. Okay, what I want is those points around the outside to be much smoother, much more like the crown is. So with the spline selected, I'm going to turn it from linear to Bezier. Okay, and you can see that it creates these sort of slightly smoother lines around. And then with the intermediate points selected, I'm just going to create natural, and you can see that we get that smoother line all the way around. If I just turn off the loft, you can see that we've got those wavy lines exactly the way I need them to be. Okay, so turning that back on, you can see that the loft, however, isn't marrying up to that. And that's because of the amount of subdivisions in the loft. So if I just increase those subdivisions up, you can see that as it increases, the edge of that sorts itself out and I get a much smoother top. However, the problem that that gives me is that the rest of the model looks very sort of blocky. Now, the same way I did with this, I changed the splines from Bezier to natural. If I select all of the others, okay, and I change them to Bezier, you can see that I get a much smoother finish again. Now, going back to my queen model and the crown, what I need to do is I need to increase the height of some of these. So just selecting the outer ones this time. Oops, missed that one. If I move those up, you can see that I get a much more queen-like crown. Then copying and pasting that one up so that I can move the entire object up, you get that queen crown there much easier than trying to do it any other way. Now I'm going to go back to using one of these circular splines because they're already there for me, and I'm just going to create another one of those and move that up so that we get that shrinking in. Okay, I'll create another to give me the height. Okay, might actually just sort of put that down. So it's going to take a few attempts and a few sort of tweakings depending on how you want your queen model to look. Okay, there we go. Might just expand that one out. And then another one on top, up. Give me the top of the sphere that sits on top of a queen model. And then finish it off with a really small circle on the top. And as before, you can adjust everything that you need to give yourself a more realistic look, or more defined look, more characterized look, depending on what it is that you want your queen to do. Okay. So there we have it. There is our queen model. Okay, and I shall see you again in the next tutorial.